Hello, everyone, and welcome to Chapter 19, Population Demography. So this is where we're going to talk about population ecology. So a population is a group of organisms that belong to the same species and live in a particular place at the same time. So for the human population, it's about 7.4 billion. Human populations continue to increase while the populations of other species has decreased dramatically. So the wildlife population decline between 1970 and 2010, it's a 52% overall decline in wildlife population, 39% decline in marine, 39% terrestrial, and 76% freshwater. How many trees are in this forest? A sample size. Instead of counting each individual tree, scientists count the number of trees in a smaller section of the forest and then use that value to estimate the population of a larger area or a stationary species. So that's for stationary species. For species that move, we catch, tag, and then release. So that way, if we find them again, we can then type in their tag into an online database and see who has that tag, where were they last seen, and we were able to go from there. So if you heard that an area is inhabited by 100 birds, would you consider that to be crowded? Take a moment, think about it. We'll go over it next class. So population density measures how crowded a population is, and it's always expressed as a number of individuals per unit area or volume. So here you see this info, please. And we can look at Cuba, the population is 11,382,820. The land is 42,803 square miles, so the population density is 266 per square miles. So from here, we then go into population dispersion, how the individuals are spaced within a population. So it could be uniform, where it is spread out evenly, or it could be random, where you can get clusters in different areas, or it could be clumped, where you get one large area of all of it together and then a bunch of areas that doesn't have anything. So here we have uniform, and the example is penguins, random, the example is flowers, and then clumped, which our example is elephants. So clump dispersion, individuals are clustered together. This occurs when food and living spaces are clumped or because of social behavior, such as herds or flocked. A uniform dispersion is that individuals are separated by a fairly consistent distance. Occurs due to social behavior where individuals want to stay far away from each other as possible, so a bird may locate its nest to maximize distance from other nests. And random dispersion is each individual's location is independent of other locations and of other individuals in the population. This is the rarest form of dispersion. And so we can see this a lot with seeds because seeds can be eaten by an animal and then taken somewhere else. It could be could be through the wind, it could be through water. There's tons of ways to do seed dispersal. So population dynamics will refer to populations changing in size and in composition over time. So the birth rate or natality this is the number of births occurring in a period of time. And then we have the death rate or mortality, and this is the number of deaths occurring in a period of time. And then, of course, we have life expectancy, how long on average an individual is expected to live. So these are age structure diagrams, the distribution of individuals amongst different ages in a population. And you're going to see the major reproductive ages, and it's being keywords here, major, from 44 to 15. So Women reach menopause at the age of 50 on average. So what we're seeing here is those who are more likely to give birth, and we can then go and look at them and figure out the different trends and the different birth rates for countries. So we have Sweden, Mexico, and the United States. So in Sweden, we see a negative growth. The number of those who are in 40 to 44 compared to those who are under 5 is negative. Like we have more people 40 and 44 and 35 to 39 than we do anywhere between the ages of 10 to 14 or under 5. Where we see rapid growth in Mexico, there is less adults and more young adults and children. So that's a positive or a rapid growth. And then we look at the United States, and it looks about even from the number of children to the number of those who are in that major reproductive ages. So that would be our zero growth or growing steadily. So we can also look at it this way where we can see an increase rapidly. So, like how Mexico was in the last one, we get this real quick increase. We have increasing slowly, where we can see it's less of an increase right here. We can see stable, which is it's closer to being a straight line. And then we can also see a decrease, which is where it starts to curve in like that. All right, and so then we see patterns of mortality. So these are survivorship curves, and they show the probability of members of a population surviving to a certain age. So here, when we look at it, we'll start with type 1. Type 1 shows us age. There's a lot more that'll survive in the younger ages, and then we get to like teenagers and adulthood, and a lot of people still surviving here. It looks pretty flat. And then we get to a specific age, and it immediately starts to decrease at a rapid decrease. So that's type 1. Type 2 is where it's relatively stable into a large decrease the entire time. So has a large chance of surviving as an egg, and then as it gets older, it's starting to decrease, and as a bird, it starts to decrease, and therefore. And then this last one is type 3. So chances of surviving is low as a seedling or as a sprout, but once it gets to being a tree, the chances of surviving is a lot longer. So type 1, likelihood of dying is small until late in life, so humans, elephants. Type 2, probability of dying does not change throughout life, that's birds. Type 3, organisms are more likely to die when young, so oysters, salmon, many insects. If it survives, though, it has a good chance of surviving to old age. Think if you could come up with any other example for the 3 types. Come back to class with it next time with an idea in your head.